After 18 days of civil unrest, the people of Egypt finally get what they want, the resignation of President Hosni Mubarak. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Cobrain.
I'm Adele Arakawa. Mubarak surprised even those close to him last night in his speech when he vowed to remain in power. However, this morning, another surprise. The longtime Egyptian leader did announce he would step down. Immediately, tens of thousands of protesters began to celebrate. The Egyptian military will now assume control of the country until a new leader is chosen. 9 News reporter Nelson Garcia joins us with some perspective on the many ways this impacts us here in the U.S. Nelson?
Adele, from a philosophical standpoint, experts say Mubarak's resignation signifies a victory for democracy. But I talked with DU professor Shaul Gabbay, an expert in Middle East relations and a former member of the Israeli Defense Force. He says people from Israel to Denver should be pleased with the peaceful end to a standoff that could have impacted the world.
Jubilation and celebration so far away from the quiet streets of Denver. But is it?
What is happening there is going to affect us here.
Professor Shaul Gabbay from the University of Denver says everyone behind the wheel here already knows the biggest impact: oil and gas prices.
The whole Arab world could be changing.
But it goes deeper than that. Geographically, Egypt is a big country, 4 times the size of Colorado, with a combined population of New York, Texas, and California. But emotionally, Egypt is a cornerstone of the Middle East and could cause a ripple effect in Muslim nations.
What has happened in Tunisia, what could happen in Libya, what could happen within the Palestinian territories.
Egypt is also an access point for our military, perhaps even troops from Fort Carson.
The fact that it is located in this particular geographical area between the Mediterranean and the Red Sea.
Egypt controls valuable airspace that F-16 pilots from Buckley Air Force Base may have to fly through. And then there's the Suez Canal, the important passage for America's Navy, the 6th Fleet. If the Suez is closed by a new Egyptian leader.
They're here. Line that goes instead all the way.
And don't forget, instability in Egypt could impact our close ally Israel, which sits so near the action.
It's basically the distance from Arvada to Aurora.
And whenever Israel reacts, the U.S. usually does too.
If anything happens in Egypt, it may affect the peace process with Israel.
After the tragedy of 9/11, Gabbay says America's response was funneled through Egypt.
Egypt was a very important springboard for our intelligence, for our fighting with Al-Qaeda.
So when we see Egyptians dancing in the streets, Gabbay says it's a dance that should be watched on the streets of Denver as well.
Gabbay says with the military in control, things in Egypt should go much smoother because both sides respect their soldiers who have remained quiet throughout the revolution. But he does say the next president of Egypt will likely have strong ties to the military, which actually should mean good things for the U.S. Adele.
All right. Nelson Garcia, thank you.
You're welcome.
President Barack Obama says the changes in Egypt are a victory for the Egyptian people. He says he hopes the military will keep its promise and protect a free and open election.